All right, hey guys, if you haven't checked out the amortization schedule and debt reduction concepts where I talk about the snowball method and the avalanche method in more detail, or at least conceptually, go back to those ones first because you really need to know how to create an amortization schedule in preparation for this video. In this video, I'm going to focus on the snowball method. Now remember that the snowball method is the method that we use when we take our extra payments and we target the lowest debt, okay? Not the highest interest, that's the avalanche, but the lowest debt balance. So I'm going to run through a simulation here, and that's going to basically show you, if you wanted to follow the snowball method, what you would need to do yourself. Okay, so let me share my screen. I've already got the Excel document set up the way that I want it, and I'm just going to walk through here and show you sort of what you would need to do. So in this particular scenario, we have the different debt. Okay, so we've got four different debt facilities here: 2 credit cards, a line of credit, and a car loan. Now notice that these debt names are associated with 4 different tabs down here. We need to create amortization tables for each one of these. So for credit card number 1, we've got our balance of $4,800, the 19.99, and the minimum payment of $145. So again, look at the other video if you don't know how to create this, but in that other video, I taught how to create this. We see here that in month 1, we start with 4,800. We have interest, the payment, the principal, and the balance. And what we're looking for here is the total number of months. So in this case, we have 49, okay? 49 months in this one. And one note that I wanted to just clarify, when you get to the last payment, it's going to show that there's a negative number there, okay? Meaning that you overpaid that last payment. Basically, for your payment, you have to manually adjust this by adding the beginning balance plus whatever the interest is, and that'll be your total payment for that last month, and it will bring the balance to 0. Okay, so I did that for the credit card number 1. Credit card number 2, $2,300 balance with a 15.99% rate and a minimum payment of $70. I've modeled this out and we get to 44 months. For the line of credit, $7,500 with 10.50%, minimum payment $120. Okay, so again, at the very beginning, $7,500. The interest payment, remember to divide by 12, otherwise it'll get all wonky. Okay, 120 is the payment, the difference is the principal, and the beginning minus the principal reduction gives you your ending balance, which is your beginning balance here, okay? So go through this, and the number of months on this case is 91. Lastly, we have the car loan. The beginning balance there is $13,200. The interest is, gotta go back to that, 6.99, and the minimum payments are $310. So we go through this and we see that the car loan has payments, 50 months will bring it to a balance of 0. So one thing that you have to manually adjust here, and this is just so that you can see the power of the snowball method, is you need to ask yourself, okay, how much extra payment do I have available to put toward this debt reduction strategy? In this example, I'm going to use 400 extra. And we're going to see the impact of this. But we want to do a before and after comparison, and you got to manually enter these. At least you got to manually enter the before. We'll do the calculation, but then we want to manually enter the total time, okay? Total interest cost, let's start there. The total interest cost is going to be the sum of all of the different interest costs for each of the different facilities, okay? So I have not done this yet. I'm going to do it live so that you see the process. So for credit card number 1, we can see that this column here, column C, lists all of the different interest costs on a month-by-month basis. What we want to do is we want to sum this up, and you can do that by using the equals sum function. And just highlight all of these, whether you hold down the mouse and select them all, or go up one by one. If you press Control and then the up arrow, it'll take you to the very top, so it speeds things up a little bit. What's important is just that you capture C2, that first one, colon, which means inclusive, to C50. And if we press Enter, then we see that the total interest cost for this particular credit card is $2,236 over the term. Okay, and that's making the minimum payment. Next, we want to go to the next credit card. We're going to do the exact same thing. So we want to equal sum, select all of the values, and we get $745. For the line of credit, okay, again, it's column number or column letter C. We want to do equal sum, all of the value there, 3,403. And the car loan equals sum, and enter. Close the bracket, then press enter. 2014. Okay, so we have the sum of all of these different interest costs. We want to know what the total interest cost is. So we press equal here. We have our first one, which is this value, plus the second one, which is this value, plus the third one, which is this value, plus the fourth one, which is this value. Enter. Okay, so we get $8,401.02. I'm not concerned with the 2 cents. So I'm just going to type in manually, now that I've done that calculation, 8401. Now, the reason I type it in manually is because we're going to have to do the calculation again after we make our adjustments. Okay, so 8401, 8401. Done. Okay, that's the total interest cost for all of these if we don't implement this $400 interest payment. Additional, pardon me, not interest, additional payment. Total time, this one's a little bit more tricky, or less tricky, I don't know. Basically, you just want to see which debt has the longest number of months. So we've got 44 here, the line of credit has 91, and this one has 50. So it is, in fact, the line of credit at 91 months. That's the total amount of time that it's going to take to reduce all of these if we simply pay the minimum payment over the life. Okay, so we've got our baseline. Now we want to move to what would happen if we use the snowball method and we target the lowest balance first. Okay, so, and then we'll move up to the next lowest balance, and then the third lowest balance, and the fourth lowest balance. So in this case, we've got credit card number 2, 2,300, and that's the one that we want to put this 400 extra payment toward. So we have to go to the credit card number 2. We got to go to our payment section, and we're going to add 400, and we're going to copy and paste all the way down. Okay, now we're going to eventually delete some of these because we're going to see that this gets paid off very quickly. All right, so in fact, it gets completely paid off by this month here, the 6th month. And there's 2 things that we need to pay attention to. One, the $470, this is the total payment. And 2, this last payment, where it goes negative, we have to make the adjustment there. So the first, let's deal with the adjustment. Instead of $470 in that last month, because we can't pay more than what we owe, we have to equal the beginning balance plus the interest amount. Okay, so that's $44. Now, if you want, I like to do this on the side here. I want to take the 470 minus the 44. Okay, so 470 minus the 44. to get 426. That's what's available in month 6 to go toward whatever the next one is in our progression here. Okay, so let me just remove all of these. We're updating everything here. Okay, so that 426, we have to make a note of that. Okay, so that one, it's done. Next, we want to take that 426 in the 6th period of whatever one is next. We go back here and say, okay, 2,300, that was the first one. The next one's going to be credit card number 1, 4,800. Okay, so we go to credit card number 1, 4,800. And remember, it was in month 6 that we needed to apply the 426. And then in month 7, we're going to apply the entire amount that we were otherwise paying to this one, so 470. Okay, so we'll just make a note, 470. So these are the adjustments that we need to make. So our payment here is going to be adjusted in month 6 to add the 426. Okay, and then payment here is going to be added 470. And that 470 is going to carry on all the way down until the last one. And of course, our debt's going to clear out faster because we have a bigger chunk that's going toward that. So we see here that in month 13, we've got a negative number. So we need to make the adjustment to the payment. The payment's just going to be the original beginning balance plus the interest. And that is 542. So again, at month 13 of our next lowest, or I guess our next highest, we're going to make that adjustment in month 13. So the difference here is the 615 minus the 542. Okay, so it's 73. And then we have the 615, which is the total payment. Okay, we can remove all of these. All right, so this one is now, because we are snowballing, we have reduced that one in 13 months. Okay, so month 13 of the next one, we need to add 73. And then month 14, we'll add 615. So let's see which one's next. We go back to our balances and we see that the line of credit is the next one. Okay, now this one was the one that took the longest to reduce. So this is where we're going to see a significant difference in the total time of our debt reductions. All right, so let's go to the line of credit. And first we need to make note of, okay, credit card number 1. And you can organize these in the order of their balance. That might make it easier. So credit card number 1, we see month 13, 73. So line of credit, month 13, 73. And then month 14 was 615. Okay, 615. So let's make the first update to the 120 payment. We're going to add the 73. And then in month 14, we're going to add the 615. And we're going to copy and paste that all the way down. Okay. And we see that it gets negative. Okay, the process should be repetitive. Gets negative here, so we have to make the adjustment to the payment. This payment is going to equal the beginning balance plus the interest, and that brings that to 0. Okay, so we've now reduced this to 81, and because I know that 81 is going to be the longest time period, I can make an adjustment here, but not quite yet. Okay, and I'll show you the reason why. We need to deal with the car loan next. So the car loan is done actually at month 50 here. And what we want to do is we want to say, okay, the extra payments, the 400, the line of credit, it was done. Oh, we forgot one thing, and that was to drop the 730 or the 735. So I'm not sure why that didn't copy and paste, but we need to copy and paste. I thought that the number was a little bit low. Okay, copy it, paste it all the way down. I see what I did. So I didn't anchor this 615, and so it wasn't picking it up. So I need to anchor it, and then I need to copy and paste. And we get the debt reduction. I thought that the debt wasn't reducing as fast as it should have been. Okay, so then we reduce this payment. This is the one that's negative, equals this minus this. And that looks a lot better. Okay, 23 months rather than 80 something. All right. Oh, and it looks like that's just a little bit. So what happened there? Payments 372. Oh, because I added them. This plus this. There. Okay. So 0. So that's in 23 months. So now we do the exact same thing. Out of the 735, we subtract the 329, or pardon me, 379. And that tells us what we can apply toward the car loan at month 23. And then at month 24, that's just going to be the entire 735. So now we move to the last one, which is the car loan. We need to go to period month 23 to add this 356. So month 23, 356. And then month 24 is going to be the 735. 735. Okay, so the payment's going to be the original payment plus this additional amount. And then the next one is going to be plus this amount. And I'm going to anchor it this time so that I don't make the same mistake. And copy, and I only need a couple here. Okay, that's the first negative. So everything else can be deleted beyond here. And then the last thing that we need to do is make the adjustment to this value, which is equal to the beginning balance plus the interest, and that'll bring it to 0. Okay, so we've implemented the snowball method. Now what we want to do is see how much we've saved through implementing this. The total interest cost is going to be, and again, we're just making the minimum payments for the first scenario. For the second, we're taking the payments. We're adding this 400 to the lowest balance owing, and then moving our way up. So the total interest cost, we've got to do the same thing. So the interest here is equal to sum of all the interest. The interest here is equal to sum of all the interest. The interest here is equal to sum of all the interest. And the interest here is equal to sum plus all of the interest. Now we have to add all these up. So first one plus the second one plus the third one plus the fourth one So you can see here that the difference is going to be before, after, and if you implemented this snowball method, the difference would be $4,874. Okay, that's an increase to your net worth under a scenario like this. The total time is just going to be the one with the longest payment. So this one was 7 months, or pardon me, this one's 6 months, 13, 23, and 30. So 30 months is the new total time. And this is equal to 61 days of making payments saved. Now, I realize that the comparison is not apples to apples because we didn't, we could have taken, if we were making the minimum payment, as soon as we paid whatever that debt facility was, whenever we paid it off, we could then take that minimum payment and add it. So it's not a direct apples to apples comparison, but you do understand sort of the mechanism behind here, and you have the flexibility because of Excel to run that scenario if you wanted to do a more apples to apples comparison where you're taking the minimum payment, say from the one, once it's paid off in your baseline scenario, adding it to the next lowest or the next highest outstanding balance. Okay, so that is the snowball method. I hope this has been helpful, and like it, subscribe. You can probably help someone by doing that, and it certainly helps me. Have a great day.